Welcome to the Rectify Roundtable, a show all about games and bringing players together with host Scott Anderson.
I'm your host, Scott Anderson, and I'm thrilled to be back with all of you once again. Every time we go live, we aim to bring you some of the best interviews and conversations, and I think we've managed to put together something pretty spectacular today. Before we get to the stars of today's show, however, I do want to remind those tuning in live on Twitch that we do encourage audience participation. We love it here, and so feel free to send in those burning questions you have for our guests. We're monitoring the chat, so feel free to drop any questions you have there, and I'll do my best to get to them throughout the show. We also have at least one giveaway planned for today. We might have two. I think a lot of that depends on how active you guys are in chat. So let's get some hype going in chat, guys. We really want to do two giveaways today. So let's get that going here, and stay tuned for that as we go throughout the show. With all that said, let's get to the actual reason why you've all tuned in. This duo that's with me today commentates some of the most hype moments in esports, and if I may say, they look pretty dang good while they're doing it. Let's give a big old new PodChamp emote welcome to Sparky and Flambo. Hey guys, thank you for coming on the show today. How are both of you doing?
I'm doing good. I haven't been on the mic for anything even a little bit formal in quite some time, since like mid-November of last year. So it's been a minute.
Wow, yeah.
No,
good stuff. How about you, Flambo? How things going?
I'm doing great. I'm excited to just kind of get back into it because the off season has felt a lot longer than it's just, I know, pandemic like amps everything. So I'm just ready to kind of get back into it.
Yeah, one day feels like a week. I know how that goes, man. So unfortunately, we were supposed to have Upmind on here as well, give us some of that CSGO love, but he is in the middle of a map 3 right now. And so if he happens to get done with that while we're still casting, we're going to try and get him on. But in the meantime, we're going to have great conversation with the two of you guys. And we've been looking forward to having this casting conversation for quite a while. It's something that we've been talking about ever since we started thinking about doing this podcast. So really stoked for you guys to be here. And for those who are listening today, who are paying attention, watching on Twitch, for those who may not be familiar, let's start by having you guys introduce yourselves a little bit. Tell us what esports you've commentated for in the past, what you're doing right now. Give us a little bit of what's happening with you. Sparky, let's start with you.
I'm Sparky. I'm a one-trick pony because I only know anything about Brawlhalla. I am probably the least talented of this entire cast here, even when it's just Flambo. So I probably have the smallest point of view on all of this. I'm at least glad that Flambo was able to make it so that we can have some Smash side of things. Though it is unfortunate we couldn't have Upmind to just sort of give the even more variety to this, coming from the Valorant that he's been doing, coming from the CSGO that he's doing tonight. But yeah, I kind of talk over Brawlhalla and say the jokes and talk about the players that I like.
Yeah, I mean, that's I'm not as Mr. Brawlhalla. That's Sparky, all right? Sparky's Mr. Brawlhalla. Me, I'm Mr. kind of Brawlhalla. I love Brawlhalla. I love it to death. I commentate it pretty much primarily now. Because when I first started, I would do some other stuff. But I do Brawlhalla, I do Smash Brothers, I do whatever Bagel tells me to do. So I've done some Power Rangers Battle for the Grid. I've done Super Animal Royale. I've done Overwatch and Counter-Strike in the past. I kind of just take whatever people will let me talk over. So that's me.
There you go. Sounds good. And before we get into talking about casting, always interested to find out, what are you guys playing right now? Is there anything specific that you're playing that you got deep in your mind that you're thinking about?
I'm busy cranking
Rocket
out
League.
big kills in Rainbow Six Siege. I'm busy cranking out big frags in Destiny 2.
Oh, there you go. Right on. I hop on Destiny 2 every 6 weeks, I think. and it keeps me hooked for like 3 weeks. All I can think about is playing Destiny 2, and then I fall off, and then I don't think about it again for 6 weeks. That's kind of my life with Destiny 2, but I feel you there.
I like to grind an entire season's worth of content in the first week, and then
right.
just continue to grind because I'm a grinder.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, no, I because I haven't been playing Destiny 2 recently, I've actually been playing Persona 5 Strikers.
Oh,
anyone who knows anything about me knows I've fallen for Persona 5 so hard. I platinumed the first game. I platinumed Persona 5 Royal. I'm gonna platinum Persona 5 Strikers. I can't get enough of that. I can't get enough of that game and that world. But so I pre-ordered that thing. Been playing it for the last 4 days, and I was nervous about a mix between Persona 5 and kind of the Musou look, like the Dynasty Warriors vibe.
Yeah.
But man, I tell you what, they meshed those two games or those two genres together so well with that game. Can't stop thinking about it. Plus the music's a jam right there. Persona 5's got some hot tracks.
So it's a Dynasty Warriors type game?
It's a Musou game.
Okay. I heard Strikers and I thought it was like Super Mario Strikers.
I wish.
I thought it was a soccer game.
Dude.
we got Joker and Smash. That's about all I can expect from a fighting Persona type thing. Although,
Persona 4
did
Arena.
It. Yeah, Persona 4 Arena did. That's true. We'll see what happens there.
Akihiko, man.
There you go. So, all right, that's what we're playing. Getting into the casting side of things. Start off, how'd you guys get involved casting esports? Not something that was a thing even 10 years ago. I mean, this is something that has really become it's really become a career in the last decade with the rise of esports. How'd you guys get involved, and what do you see as your long-term goals for this particular part of your life? Flambo, I'll start with you. Or no, Sparky.
I'm sorry. I was going to let it go.
Whoever wants to start.
Let it fly.
Flambo, you go ahead.
Are you sure?
I got the last one.
Okay. Well, I mean, so it's interesting, right? Because I am 27 years old now, right? So like I'm
boomer.
I know. It kind of hurts.
We're not going to talk about age here, guys. You stop that. We're not going to talk about age here.
But no, when I was in high school was when I first started casting, like the tail end of high school. And really what it was I played Super Smash Bros. Melee religiously. And there was a YouTube channel called The Waffle 77 who was run by a dude named Homemade Waffles, who would, before capture cards were really a thing like they are now, and Twitch was around and yada, 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 he would record all of the Smash tournaments locally with his buddy, and they do live commentary over it, and then they'd upload it to YouTube. And back then, you couldn't watch a Twitch stream yet because Justin.tv wasn't even around yet. That hadn't been conceived. So it was the only way to figure out what was happening with the tournaments besides going to online forums. And I saw those guys, and they're hilarious. And some of them still cast, the Waffle still does, or Homemade Waffles does, Phil not so much, but they were really inspiring to me because I was yo, I can be funny and crack jokes on the mic. So I went to my first Smash Bros. Locals. And we had a recording set up, and I was word, I suck at Smash, but I can be funny. And then I started talking there, and then one of the people I met through Smash had a ESL League of Legends commentary thing that he was doing that he put me on to. So then League of Legends was the first game that I actually really casted for a while, and then it just kind of led into more stuff from there.
Awesome. Yeah. So Sparky, how about you? What got you first involved with casting, and what do you see going forward for you there?
Well, the biggest thing that helped me get into casting was that I was extremely lucky. I was able to get into Brawlhalla on the absolute groundest of floors. If I was starting from nothing right now in this time, there's no way you would ever catch me on a stream. Not even a chance. I got in on the ground floor with one of my best friends in the world, Duke Fam. He's one of the ones you always see on the mic with me.
Shout outs to Duke.
and his girlfriend. We met in college, and once they left college, then we started. Obviously, we played games together. We wanted to find something to play because maybe some of the other games were getting stale. So we got into Brawlhalla. We weren't very good, but we wanted to get involved with esports. So we were like, screw it, let's just run a tournament. So once we were thinking about doing that, then we were like, okay, well, we could do the commentary. I've always been a performer. I did junior high band, I did high school band, I did fifth grade choir, all kinds of stuff. I've always been a performer and love performing. So commentary was my way to do that because I stunk at the game. There was no way you were ever going to find me on a tournament stream playing the game. So I had to talk. And man, I was bad. Oh, I was so bad. Oh, it was awful. I had no idea what I'm doing. Honestly, I still don't. But
That's fair.
man, the fact that like me and Duke were kind of like the only games in town gave us a very powerful position. So even though we stunk, people didn't have anything else to go to. So they cut us a lot of breaks. They dealt with all the mess ups, us not knowing actually how to commentate. They let us get through the early learning stages without being too brutal. I can't even imagine what it's like for people who want to commentate Brawlhalla now. It's just got to be such a tough field to actually get into.
Yeah. Hey, I get you on the performer side. 6 years in drumline right here.
Oh.
Just want to say.
I was
Nick
drumline
Cannon.
as well.
Ooh,
There you go.
Double Nick Cannon. Oh.
I was on the bass, not on the snare. I wasn't good enough to be on the snare. Just saying.
I started bass. I was the only freshman to make the drum line that year.
Look at you.
Started on the bass line. Then after that, I played quads for 3 years. Became the quad captain and then the drumline captain. So I was just kind of the cock of the walk in the drum line, which is of course the coolest section. So I was one of the coolest people in all of the high school band, which still made me a nerd.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would put you in like the top 70% of cool people in the school, though. So
yeah,
I get that. I get that life, man. I've been there. All right, so real quick, I want to let you guys know we're gonna do our giveaway in 5 minutes. So
juice.
Keep tuned in. Giveaway in 5 minutes. I'll let you know what it is then. We got a question from Twitch chat. Sparky is for you from You Got Froned. Froned? I hope I'm saying that right. How many times
are?
Oh, look at me. Look at that. Professional host here, I'll tell you. How many times have you run Deep Stone Crypt and failed to get Eyes of Tomorrow?
Every time. Froned is asking me these questions, like he's feeding me these questions. He's who I play Destiny with. He's the reason I actually got into Destiny. So Froned, just check my raid report, and then you can actually tell me how many times exactly. But I don't have the exotic drop from the new raid yet, and it's very frustrating.
Fair enough.
He has it.
Oh, he probably got it first try, right?
I don't think he got it first try, but he got it pretty early. I don't think any of the other people that we raid with have it yet, except Froned.
That's how it goes. Just stunting on you. Not cool, man. All right, moving on. Is there a game or event that you guys would like to cast that you haven't had a chance to yet?
Man, I like think about that and like my brain starts like turning because I'm like there. So here's the thing, right? Because I feel like when I started casting, because I'll do kind of a joint thing here because I realized I only like kind of half answered the first question, right? So in terms of my long-term goals, right, for this part of my life, when I first started casting, my goal was just to have a good time. And then there hit a point in my life where I was like, wow, I've been doing this for years. I should probably keep doing it / make it amount to something. But I didn't really know how to do that because Smash events suck in terms of like the payment structure. Like you can get hired since it's like very grassroots and like they're allowing people to like shoot their shot and get in. And if you get like popular enough with the fan base, they'll hire you for better slots and yada, yada, yada. But the pay has always been like pretty minimal / non-existent because there's no like developer support for Nintendo games. So it was just the money that the community had, which albeit isn't a lot. So in terms of games that I would like to cast that I haven't had a chance to, I remember when Valorant first came out, I was trying to be like, yo, I want to be like the Valorant dude. But like the thing, like going into a game that you do not already cast as like the new guy is like extremely hard. And like I said, it's a bit of a shame that like we weren't able to snag Upmind. Maybe he'll pop in later because he actually does cast Valorant for Riot, and I've been seeing his work, and he's been doing a great job. And it's like that. Honestly, the games I really want to cast are all fighting games. I just love fighting games. Tekken. Haven't had a chance to like really cast Tekken. Like I've gone to like a local, but I'm like trying to be on some like Tekken World Tour Tekken stuff, trying to cast Dragon Ball Fighters. I had a few tournaments, but like never really like Guilty Gear Strive when that drops, dude. I would love to get a chance to cast that, or even Rocket League. Now that I put so many hours into that thing, I'm like I may as well. Every game that I play, I make sure that I am like, if the average player is, let's say, gold or something, I'm always trying to make sure I'm in the top 10 percentile. So, like, I will be diamond in every game that I touch, every single one, and I won't stop playing until I am, so the game better be good. And Rocket League's a challenge to do that. Rocket League is a challenge, but I'm
terrible at that game. I'm so bad at Rocket League.
It's hard. Like,
Yeah.
it's like melee levels of hard, dude. But it's so fun to grind. So I'm hoping that, like, I don't know what the future of commentary looks like, right? Like, there's a sports infrastructure for, I don't know, like someone like Tony Romo or something. I don't know. After a certain point, you probably just retire. But, like, the amount of money you make in those fields are not comparable to esports right now. And even the esports that do, like, let's say you're like Rivington or Freak or something in League of Legends, the like disparity between like an esport like that and a lot of other esports are, I don't know, dude. I don't know it. I feel like I'm just shooting a ball in the dark and seeing where it lands. I have no idea what the end goal is. Ultimately, what I would like to do is quit my day job and go full time into esports. That's my goal. And I don't know how that looks like. I don't know if that means I have to like go harder on my YouTube because I've been slacking, or if that means like something else, but I just not trying to have the day job anymore.
Yeah, how about you, Sparky? What would you like to cast that you haven't had the chance to yet?
My answer is going to be a lot less interesting than Flambo's, so it would have been really cool if somehow like you knew that ahead of time and then you let me go first, so then Flambo could round it out with that big dearth of knowledge. Because man, I don't really care about any other games commentary wise. Like you have to dedicate so much time to be able to commentate a game and actually be anything worth a darn at it. I'm not good at Rainbow Six enough to do that. I don't want to spend the time to get good enough at Rainbow Six to do that. Commentary for Destiny 2 doesn't exist. I wouldn't want to do it. So my like let's see, tunnel vision on Brawlhalla, like that's kind of all there is. And because I'm like one of the top commentators for it, I just kind of get to do whatever I want. So really the only thing is it's not even something like in the future that I want to do. It's really something in the past that I didn't get to do. It was Paris Games Week, which was a huge event in Paris. Brawlhalla was a part of it. And it was a side of the community that we don't get to see at many events. We have had international events. A lot of them have been in like Sweden at DreamHack. And then like one was in the Netherlands that I wasn't able to go to, unfortunately. But this one had the French community. A lot of guys from the French community that is an extremely vocal part of the community. We always see them in chat going crazy. Of course, they participate in onlines, but we don't usually get to see them at many LANs. There's several guys out there that I've never been able to like get in a room with and give firm handshakes all around. And that makes me sad, and I'm hoping that in the future I will get to do that. But specifically, that event was really special, not even just for like the French side of the community, but also specifically the player Pavelski. That was one of the like first LANs that he was ever really able to go to, and he won it. He was like one of the big men in EU that people were like, man, get this guy on LAN and he's going to work wonders. He's going to work his magic. So unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there for that. But if you want to talk like really end goal for this, Man, I don't know. It's just a hobby. I just do it for fun. I just like talking about the game. I like talking about the players. I like learning about the players. I like comparing the stats of it. Like the only thing that I would have my eye on down the road is like a Twitch Rivals event with Brawlhalla. I think
I'd
that
love
would
to
be
do that, dude.
the coolest thing. We were able to do sort of like a Twitch Rivals event. It was completely separate, but still like the same framework of it, where you had like Brawlhalla players. They were coaching just random streamers. And that was so much fun to see because you could see the learning process. You could see Brawlhalla players teaching randos. I don't even want to call them randos because they were streamers. Like they were streamers who had viewers. So, but it was people that you had never seen before. And you saw them like going through that learning process, learning the game, seeing what doesn't work, what does work, those light bulb moments. And that was really cool. It's like with Pog Champs right now going on with chess. I don't care about chess. I think chess is lame. I think chess is resident sleeper. But when I get to see XQC play chess, I'm in. When I get to see Ludwig play chess, I'm in. I've been watching Pog Champs like every day, and I don't know what's going on, but it's still so cool because I get to see popular streamers. I get to see them learn. I get to see them succeed, and I get to see them fail.
Man, Ludwig's such a weird one too, dude. Like, only because as someone who comes from the Smash community, I remember when Ludwig was not as big as he was now, and just seeing the like exponential growth happen before your eyes of like, just like a dude that I met at, like I don't even remember the name of that tournament right now, Full Bloom 4. It's like, hey, what up? And now it's just like, oh my god, this guy like pulls in like 60K average viewers on Twitch. What is going on?
I'm a huge Lud bud.
Crazy glow up, dude.
Awesome. Well, so guys, we've already started our giveaway, and we are giving away Overcooked 2. You guys ever played that? That game's pretty fun.
Yeah.
I haven't.
That game's pretty fun.
What?
And
I've never played it. I've seen Duke and Winan play it on stream, and with Frond and Adriana. That was cool. I got to see them mauled at each other, but I haven't played it personally.
Yeah, no, Overcooked 2 is good, and I think we've got a couple DLC packs to go along with that too. So it's base game plus a couple DLC packs. If you're paying attention on Twitch, enter Duke as the keyword in chat.
And make sure that's Duke, D-U-K-E, not Duke like D-U-C, the commentator.
Yeah, because people never make that mistake.
That's right. And this game's on Steam. So you guys got everyone on Steam. Come on, let's be real. Overcooked 2 is what we're giving away. All right, so our buddy Ty's going to run that giveaway for us. We'll continue on here. So this past year, obviously, really crazy in terms of casting. No more in-person events, all online. But I wanted to get your guys' opinion. For you, specifically, what has been the difference for you between casting for LAN events versus online events, especially this past year?
Oh, Sparky, you go first.
Online, like at home, sucks. It's the worst. Like it's Pog that we still get to do it. That like specifically one of the games, Brawlhalla, has such an online framework that we can still do it. Like that's a blessing. That's incredible. I would hate to be a Smash Ultimate player or commentator or viewer during this time. That has to be rough. But it's cool that we get to do it. I recognize the blessing, but man, doing it from home or doing it from the cribbo, as I like to say that I just made up, it's nice. It's awful. It's truly the worst type of commentary that you could possibly imagine. You don't even have the person right next to you. You don't have all the people gathered at an event that you could feed off of. It's brutal.
Yeah, no, I have to agree. I feel like so pros and cons, right? Pros, as Sparky mentioned before, like the netcode of Brawlhalla is amazing. Like people will still complain about it, but like when you look at what else there is, like Dragon Ball Fighters netcode, like Capcom Fighters netcode, like it's bad, you know? Like Under Night In-Birth, one of my favorite fighting games ever, netcode trash. Brawlhalla, not an issue. And that's one of the reasons I think Brawlhalla does so well, is the fact that one, it's free to play, and two, you can just launch the game, hop into a game and have it be playable and feel like, I'm not going to say LAN versus online are comparable, but it's good enough that you're not going to like rage. You can feel your decisions. You don't feel like you did something often and your input didn't come out. But casting it is like, well, I don't have to fly somewhere, which like this is going to sound like a weird thing to I'm not really complaining about it per se. But what would happen often with Brawlhalla events is, like, as I mentioned before, I work 40 hours a week. And usually events would be over the weekend. They'd be a lot of 3 days events. That would be like Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I'd have to do like a weird thing where I'd have to either like take time off on like a Friday, and I'd be like juggling my PTO to try to get all the events in that I could. And that kind of like stunk a little bit. But I do miss the traveling aspect. I miss seeing people in person. I miss like it's weird even to not be sitting at the desk with Sparky with his laptop and just like seeing him look at his laptop to pull up stats and stuff. Like that's like a weird thing. You don't feel the energy at all. Like, yeah, I remember one of the moments I remember best, right, is at CEO 2019 question mark. I think it was a 2019. Must have been. Yeah. Mac versus Scary, right? One of the player picks that they uploaded to the YouTube channel. You could hear the crowd like roaring for like every hit, every blow. And like that energy like feeds into your commentary so much. And I feel like a lot of casting from home is like, if the gameplay is exciting, all right, the gameplay will speak for itself, but it'll never be the same as like not having just the squad, dude. Like I miss the squad. Yeah. I miss Lil Cap. I miss like, was it who threw the middle finger? Was it Ethan? I like that was
no, it was Cody who threw it at Ethan.
That's what it was. Like that stuff. Like you can't get any of that stuff. And the big thing that I always say about esports is like, for Smash, people watch a lot for the people, right? Like Mango or like Mewtwo King, they're all like personalities that people love to follow. And like, if you are online, you don't get to see any of the players' faces as they're playing. You don't get to see their expressions. You don't get to like see them punch their keyboard or like anything. And like, it takes away, it just makes the experience overall feel less personal. And I just miss that. I miss being able to see that. I miss seeing like Crocky like bounce in his chair in person. Like it's just different, man. It hit different, and not in the good way.
Yeah, no. At home commentary is definitely the best way to commentate. Right up until you press like start stream and put on the headset. Because it's so convenient. I get to sit in my room. I get to make sure it's like 70 degrees, maybe 69 degrees, nice. And I get to wear what I want, like below the belt, whatever's off camera, I can wear what I want. I can have a big thing of water next to me in between like blocks or breaks or anything. I can go and make something in the kitchen, a nice hot meal. I don't have to rely on catering, which first of all, catering is a blessing, but still, it's never going to be as good as what you have in your fridge at home. Like you get to use your bathroom instead of the bathroom that a bunch of dirty gamers have peed all over. So like until you press like go on the tournament, it's the best way to commentate. But then once you hit go, it's dog. It's absolute dog.
Yeah. No, I get you. That makes sense. And that's one of those things. I've got a couple friends who are involved, and that's the thing they would always talk about. They're like, the energy, like I just miss the energy. I want to get back to the energy. It's hard to create that artificially, like you said, when you're just watching the game play out in front of you. So, and not having that crowd behind you. So no, I mean, I get that. Hopefully we're going to get back to that not too far from now, but it was great. The Great Udini is our winner for Overcooked 2. Congratulations.
Oh, let's go.
The Great Udini. Yeah. So we will be sending you a message in Twitch where we'll whisper you a message. So be paying attention for that. All right. So Flambo, I want to start with you on this next one because you kind of jumped into it a little bit. Wanted to get your guys' greatest memory or favorite moment in casting thus far. Flambo, you talked about CEO 2019. Mm-hmm. Is there something else that you want to add to that? Or is there another moment you can think of that you really loved casting for?
So, okay. So here's the thing with me, right? if I think of like moments in terms of like the energy that I feel, the raw emotion, like watching it, casting it, speaking about it, like Mac versus Gary is the first one that comes to mind, just because I remember like casting that set, putting all my energy into it, feeling like I did a great job, and then having the like court of public opinion that is Twitch chat agree with me, and then having that video uploaded to YouTube and having the YouTube comments agree with me is like having people tell you you're good at commentary and when you think you did a good job is like the most like reassuring thing ever, especially when I first started casting. I had like huge imposter syndrome because I thought I was like good, but I was like, am I like that good? I don't know. And if I was like great, my mindset has always been that like people will always say if you're great. If you're all right, people won't say anything. If you're doing a good job, people are going to talk about it. And that was like one of those times I remember people talking about it a lot. But in terms of like the other things that like I think of or I look back fondly on, it's like this moment isn't even in the grand scheme of Brawlhalla history. It's not even that significant. Like it's not at all. But I will always remember it because there's two moments. I just had like a double flashback. All right, so the first time is me and TK Breezy were commentating some tournament. I couldn't tell you which one. We've casted so many Brawlhalla tournaments at this point. They all kind of blend into one. But I'm pretty sure it must have been like Starlight, because who else to be playing Cannon versus somebody else. And it was when Cannon was overtuned and everyone was playing Sidra. And they had a Sidra rocking the black colors and a Sidra rocking the white colors. And I said, yo, we got Tia and Tamara in the lobby. And I still look back at that and I'm like, dude, I am so funny. Like I am so funny, dude. And like the other time, like in my brain, I want to say it was a Stingray match, but it wasn't. But it was like someone who was playing Orion, but they were playing the Black Knight. And the line I said was like, if there's anything that this person has done today, it's that if white knights are for the simps, black knights are for the pimps. And I made that on the spot, and I am so proud of it. And I would never let that die. Like, if I got to, like, make a reel for an event coming up, both of those clips are going in there with no hesitation whatsoever. So that's me in terms of, like, things I'm like, man, I feel like when I cast, I'm, like, trying to ride that line of, like, what can I say on stream that won't get me canceled, but also is funny, but it's like riding the line just enough where like Foda isn't going to yell at me afterward. And I felt like, I hit it, dude. I hit it. Anyway.
Beautiful. Thanks. No, that's good, man. You got to clip that and keep it for yourself. That was very great.
In the archives.
There you go. Sparky, how about you, man?
Well, I wasn't really gonna gas myself up this hard, but since Flambo already lit that flame, I think the favorite thing I've ever said was during it was Mountain Dew Amp Game Fuel Championship, and I was sitting on the desk. It was an online event, but that was at the point in Brawlhalla's esports history where the commentators were flown to Blue Mammoth Games office so that at least we could be together physically on the desk, which was super pog. And I was sitting there with Taza, and I think it was Boomy playing, but maybe it wasn't Boomy. It was a Diana playing in the game, and he hit a side sig. And if you know anything about the Diana side sig on bow, it has some crazy hitboxes on it. And he ended up hitting with the backside of it. And I turned to Taza and I said, remember that hitbox is very important. It's just like when you're trying to find a girlfriend, the backside matters. And that was one of my favorite things that I have ever said. But beyond that, like my favorite times I've ever commentated was there are a couple. I'll give a couple as well, just like Flambo did. One has to be the first World Championship. For those who didn't watch it or really like pay attention to what was going on, that was sort of like a proving ground. because it was so long. Me and Duke put in insane hours in that. We were like the only guys that were commentating that event. Like Fats was there, and I think Fats, TK was there for some of it, but I can't remember. Maybe Fats wasn't there for that World Championship. But that was like me and Duke putting in hard 10-hour days, like 3 days in a row. My voice was dead like halfway through the first day. We had to buy so much time. There were like just 20 to 30 minute blocks all over the place of just they were just like you gotta fill time, like you just have to do it. Like, well, what are we gonna talk about? I don't know, just run it. That was like, that felt like paying dues. And it felt really cool when that was done, to be like, okay, I did some commentary. It wasn't perfect. It probably wasn't even great, but we sat there on the desk and we filled the time with content that people probably wanted to hear. We found things to talk about for like 30 hours that weekend, going off of like 3 hours of sleep every night. And that just made me like feel really good about myself as a commentator, that I was able to push and muscle through that. The other one would be it was at the last World Championship, not last November, but the one before that in 2019, where we had the Pro League Super Finals. It was the best Pro League team from NA against the best Pro League team from EU. And like the play was cool, whatever. That was fun. Yeah. But the important part of that was that me and Duke got to sit on the table and do a tri-cast with professional wrestler Xavier Woods.
Oh, nice.
Now this was a guy
jealous. I'm still so jealous. I'm so jealous.
I looked up to him for years and years and years. It was at PAX South way early on, like maybe 2015, maybe 2016, that he actually went to, because he's a big nerd for games as well, that he went to, and he was giving away Royal Rumble tickets. And it was like, he was like, I'm giving away Royal Rumble tickets. He tweeted on Twitter, and you had to like go and find him. And you had to do like a bottle flipping contest. That was back when like bottle flipping with like a little bit of water in it was going around everywhere. So I ended up winning that, which I never win anything ever. So that was sick. I got free Royal Rumble tickets. That was awesome. But I remember really early on in that, I had like Twitter DM'd or Discord private messaged the community manager for Brawlhalla at that time, and I was like, yo, this guy, Xavier Woods, Austin Creed, he has this YouTube show where he does all this video game stuff. You got to get Brawlhalla on that show. I want to be on that show so badly. This was in like 2015. Then you catapult 4 years into the future, and I'm sitting next to this guy on the table. I've never felt so like physically
that's the cramp,
minuscule before, but like that didn't matter, because I was sitting next to Xavier Woods doing commentary for my favorite game with one of my best friends in the world. That like hour and a half, I get to sit on the desk with him for an hour and a half. Like, think about your heroes, some of the people you want to meet most in the world. Imagine you just like get to sit there on the desk and they're forced to be there with you, right? Like, they can't leave. That's the best thing. They're a captive audience for an hour and a half, man. That was, I don't think really hardly anything will ever beat that.
Yeah, that does sound pretty great. I know how it feels. I know that like minuscule feeling. I used to work for MGM Resorts, and I had the opportunity to meet Shaquille O'Neal once. And
oh God,
I am not a tall dude. I'm like 5'8", 5'9" with shoes on, and Shaq's like 7'6". And when I went to shake his hand, I think his fingers touched my elbow just from shaking my hand. And man, yeah, that feeling minuscule, I get what you mean there. But no, that's incredible. There's really been this incredible explosion with esports and giving casters these types of opportunities. It's something I never had. When I was a kid playing games, even when I was in high school playing games, I never thought that this would be a thing. I never thought that there would be these sorts of experiences for people like you guys. And it's just so great that it's become something that people appreciate on a much higher level. They see where the value is there. They see the entertainment value there. And getting to meet someone like Xavier Woods, that's awesome, man. I definitely wouldn't forget that one. So I'm going to let you guys know, we may this is for the people that are tuning in. We may have our video shift here in just a minute. Upmind just finished up his CS:GO stuff,
Hog?
so we're gonna try and get him on.
Hoggers?
We're gonna try and get him on, see if it'll happen. But in the meantime, we will continue on with our conversation here. We were talking a little bit about it at the start. Some things that might be difficult for the caster life. I mean, like you were talking about, Sparky, you run on 3 hours of sleep multiple days in a row. You have all the stuff you got to do. And that's something that with people tuning in, they're never thinking about that. They're never thinking about all the studying that's involved, that you guys do to prepare yourselves for these tournaments and the casting that you do. So if you could give us like a little bit of insight into that part of the casting life, what makes it difficult? How do you prepare for matches? Talk about the studying involved, like that kind of stuff that people probably generally don't think about.
Who do you want to start?
Sparky, let's start with you.
Well, definitely the hardest part is having to turn down all of the women in my life because I'm married to the game. I'm married to the game for the rest of my life. But really, you hit it right on the head, is the research that goes into everything. My memory is truly awful. I don't remember things for very long whatsoever. So Flambo talked about it earlier, is my laptop. Like that's my Brawlhalla Bible. I have to have that. I have to have the spreadsheet with who has lost to who for the past year. I have to write down who their characters were, what the score was, all of the records of these players, who they're playing for, all of that. It takes me hours, and I have to do it every single tournament to update things as things go, because I don't remember any of it. It's crazy how some people can be like, oh man, this is just like game 3 of the losers round 1 set back from Winter Championship 2017. This is just like that. Billy Bob was playing Diana. Oh no, it was a Jala that he was playing, and he was using this skin or this color scheme, and he ended up taking a stock at a minute 10 into the game, and it was incredible. That's never going to exist in my brain. That just won't happen. So I have to have the stats in front of me. I have to have the spreadsheets. I have to have all of that ready to go at a moment's notice. And that takes me a lot of time in preparation for every single event.
Wow. I'm because for me, I don't go that hard at all. But to be fair, because the thing was Brawlhalla came into my casting career pretty late. I was playing Smash and doing Smash events infinitely more than I was doing Smash. And I have a document that I haven't updated in a while. It's a list of every single tournament that I've casted. And it's a long... it's just an extremely long list. It's an extremely long list. And the reason I needed that list was because for Brawlhalla, right? Since I'm a Brawlhalla caster now, it doesn't really matter. I don't have to reapply for Brawlhalla whenever I do an event. Because now that I'm one of their casters, I'm just put on for any event that Brawlhalla does. Okay, it makes sense. But for freelance things like Smash, every event isn't run by the same person. So then you have to basically it's job applications. You have to apply to this event and that event and this event and that event, and then see if they say yes. And if they do say yes, are they going to accommodate any sort of flight or housing or travel or anything? And so I needed to build up this resume of every tournament that I'd done, so I could show that I was the real deal, because the only other thing that could speak for someone is their clout, basically. And I didn't really have a whole lot of clout. I was that caster that was pretty good and people liked, but was not the person that people were going to pick for top 8s or top 16s for a while, just because at the time there were already people who had cemented themselves in that slot. So you had to basically make it so that you could somehow finagle a reason to get people to believe that they should pick you over EE or TK, who already cemented themselves in the Smash scene. But honestly, I did a great job building that. But regardless, I think the hardest part for me these days, a lot easier now. When I first started Brawlhalla, the hardest part, of course, was learning all the players and stuff because I only knew like Boomy, LDZ, like all the people that would like get top 8s were easy enough. But I started by doing like Brawl League tournaments and Bagel tournaments, and some of them were smaller, some of them were like kind of like seasonal things. But when you're hopping into a game, I played Brawlhalla for years before I started casting it, and I was already good at it by the time I started casting it. But just knowing who all the players were and their storylines, it felt like you're like jumping into a movie halfway through. Like there's already stuff that you just don't know that's happened that you need to catch up on. And now I feel like I'm kind of at home with it. Since I still play the game actively, I don't have to look up what's going on in the game. Like if I wanted to cast League of Legends now because I casted it in the past, I'd be completely lost. But Brawlhalla is like, I'm hunting every single patch notes that come out. I'm in training mode, seeing what the differences are. I just like mentally remember every single thing that happens to the game balance wise because I notice the effects of it because I play the game actively. So like I don't have to like look it up or anything. For the storylines, like usually I have Sparky or I have like Toast or Zaruga or like Left Stick or something able to like funnel me those results so that I can just like seem smart and say them, because I used to have to memorize all those things for Smash, and I had a binder that I would take to each tournaments where I would write down everyone's set record with every other player in the top 50. But like it came to a point where I realized that for traditional sports, they have someone just like do that. You know, like it's not like Tony Romo's like, oh, I remember when this team played that team and the score was 3-2. It's like they have a whole team dedicated to just that, feeding that to the casters. And casters in esports are really juggling the jobs of like a host, a commentator, a stats person, this, that, whatever. And then it just kind of like hit me. I'm like, I shouldn't have to do this. So I don't. It's kind of where I land with it. Yeah.
Right on. That's great. Yeah, and it's great to hear. And it's hard to talk about the struggles, but it's great to hear the struggles. I think it speaks to the professionalism that you guys have when you're going into these things, and people really got to know like this is not easy. It's not something that just anybody could do. It takes a lot of dedication, a lot of hard work.
It sucks.
And
you don't get paid half the time. Like not with Brawlhalla. Brawlhalla has paid me for every event that they've ever put me on for, but just like the freelance life of like I don't know if we're going to be able to get Gus in here. I think we might. And if we do, cool. Because if there's anyone I know who can relate to like doing events and not getting your cheddar for it, is like, oh, it's Gus. It's Gus.
Yep. That's an experience that I have no time with that, because Brawlhalla, with its own like insulated independent ecosystem, they get payouts going quickly. Mm-hmm. I appreciate that so much. I've just never had to deal with the other side of that. And like you said, Flambo, about having to like basically reapply for the job every time for these other event runners. Like, I don't gotta worry about that, bro. If there's an event coming up, I'm on the bill. Unless I say no, I'm on the bill. And that feels great.
That's a great feeling. Once you're in, you're in,
Yeah, that is great. Well, I tell you what else is a great feeling as I make a very awkward transition here. Upmind, I believe, is finally here and able to join us. Upmind.
Let's go.
We can hear him. We should be able to see him here in just a second. Upmind, you are fresh off cat. Oh, there you are. Look at that. He even looks great. He's been casting CSGO for the last, I don't know, probably 12 hours. And here he is looking great, looking fresh. I love the hair, man. That looks so good. But how you doing, man? Glad to have you on the show.
Hey, no, appreciate it. No, thank you for having me. I mean, you guys just came off a discussion about struggles. I think Flambo knows more than enough about my struggles. like too much.
It's terrible, dude.
It sucks. But yeah, no, I'm very happy to be here. And you guys are pretty much like, you've guys gone through like everything, I would like to think, right? Or is there more to talk about? I would love to spit some facts.
There's more to talk about, but we're going to let you catch up a little bit here. couple things you know, if you want to get through it real quick, that's fine. Just give me whatever you think. How did you get involved in esports, and you know, what do you see your goals for in the future with esports?
Yeah, real quick. So at the very beginning of things, back in 2016, I was picked up as a streamer for an organization that I ended up getting super involved with, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I was actually brought on to stream a game of FIFA Pro Clubs. I love soccer, but they were literally just like, you just stream the game. And I'm just like, okay, let me totally disobey your orders and let me like cast it like for jokes, right? Because it was like a regular season game. So I did it for fun, kind of as like a radio thing. And then from there, people were just like, you know what, maybe you should try that a little bit more. Maybe refine it, because you didn't actually sound that bad. You knew what you were talking about. So I'm like, okay, let me keep going. So from there, I ended up reaching out into Counter-Strike first of all, and then Smash Bros. And I mean, here we are, right? I mean, I went through the motions a whole lot more. And as the years went by, my passion just kept growing for esports, and I made it my full-time thing.
This is awesome, man. Look at that, nice and succinct. Very good, very good. We'll just keep on going here. What's something you've talked about? A lot of the games that you already mentioned that you've streamed in the past. Is there something that you haven't had a chance to cast yet that you would like to at some point in the future?
Ooh, that's tough, dude. Okay. I feel as if I have a ringing that some Brawlhalla professionals are here. Brawlhalla, that's almost literally it. I would love to do Brawlhalla. I went to World Championships. I went to CEO I think it was 2018, 2019. I was Fiend's translator, bro. Yeah. Brawlhalla is. Okay, I'm not gonna swear.
I know what you're gonna say,
dude. It's lit, dude. It's amazing, and I mean, just the community around it is probably the best part about it. But I'm very happy where I am at the moment, especially with doing a lot more gigs with Valorant and actually with Riot at the moment. So I'm happy with where I am, but I would like to do Brawlhalla in the future, maybe League of Legends, but I don't know anything about League. That is more just like, oh, that esports sounds fun.
Well, I mean, we do have a couple Brawlhalla guys here who might be able to vouch for you. So, hey, guys, look them up.
Hit up Photocon on Twitter. Photocon on Twitter.
Oh, my God.
Fodakahn on Twitter. Hit him up on Twitter.
Does he? Sparky's got the inline there. I'd listen to what that guy's saying. And then one more thing. This will pretty much catch you up. What's your greatest memory or favorite moment of casting thus far?
Dude, okay. Late 2019, so pretty much right before COVID, December. It was my birthday that weekend, and I was actually flown out to my very first event. Well, at least getting flown out. I ended up going to Fragadelphia, which is a Counter-Strike tournament in Philadelphia. Makes sense. And that entire experience throughout that weekend, I was able to really mesh with the veteran community, with a lot of the more natured casters. They gave me a lot of advice. Just had a really good time that weekend. And also because it was my birthday, literally on stream, they surprised me with like a cake, and it was
nice.
Dude, that entire weekend was amazing. My greatest memories overall is getting in touch with the grassroots scene. It's a whole other environment. When, of course, I love doing this professional stuff when I'm on like ESL and stuff like that, but you don't get the fun moments. The real fun moments is when you can really connect with a grassroots community.
Great, man. No, that's great. You're pretty much caught up here. So let's move on to next question. I got to say, we got some pretty good casters in here. So if the answer to this question is one of the guys in here, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But who's your role model in the casting world? Is there someone that you look up to specifically that you try and model yourself after a little bit? Someone that, you know, in the early stages of your career might have helped you get into casting? Talk about your role models a little bit. Flambo, let's start with you on this one.
Okay, so this is going to kind of circle back to something I mentioned before, because so what even got me into casting was Homemade Waffles and Phil, who are like at this point cemented as like legends in terms of like the Super Smash Brothers Melee history. They are the ones that like I listened to and like could see myself in and could see myself doing commentary, and they were the ones that like really made me feel like I could do it and just like try it. And granted, Phil doesn't do commentary anymore, and Brandon is like more of a player / tournament organizer now rather than like a commentator. He does some stuff here and there, and I'm sure when like it's buying to have stuff in person again, Summit will come back around. He'll probably end up getting sent to that. But it's like this question, like kind of hits me in a like sad spot in a sense, just because someone that like I looked up to heavily is just like someone that I can no longer. And like in the whole past summer of like Smash, just, you know, don't want to sour the mood, but just like for me, there was only one person that I could see that was Black, Haitian, in esports doing everything that like I wanted to do, and that person is now gone. So I was like, at that moment is when I was like, I'm gonna be my own role model, bro. I don't need no one else. I've gotten far enough. But Sajam, Giuna, there are other people that I'm like, y'all great. Yipes, also great. But I just kind of stopped looking up to people since then. Just kind of sad, but it is what it is, you know? I was like, I made it, whatever.
Ron, hey, Sparky, how about you? Who's been your role model in casting?
I don't really have one, so I'm gonna say several. But you praised Upmind for being succinct, so I'll try to be succinct as well, so you don't yell at me. Definitely EE is one of them. I'm not really that big of a fan of Smash. No disrespect to the Smash commentators and or fans in here or any of them around the world, but if EE's on the mic, I'll watch EE. I love EE. EE has the incredible ability to get away with the things that he says on the microphone. He is a professional about knowing where to put those things in and then how to immediately move past them without pulling the spotlight onto himself, without letting it marinate too long. He just hits those notes that are hysterical and then moves back into the game. He is the absolute king of moments like that. Then also, since I've been watching PogChamps lately, I gotta put in the ring Women's Grandmaster Cutie Cinderella for bringing a very unique viewpoint to chess that makes the game more entertaining for me, someone who knows next to nothing about chess. I love that. If you can reach out to the non-religious viewers at home for that esport, I think that's incredible. It's not easy to do, so I love that she's able to do that very well. Also, Flambo mentioned Sajam. Like, Sajam is such a king. Mm-hmm. Everything Sajam does just like seems to be incredible.
Tasty Steve? How did I not say Tasty Steve? How did I forget Steve, dude?
True.
Steve,
you want to say something about Steve? Go ahead, say something about Steve.
Steve's the GOAT. That's it. Steve's the GOAT. Why are you not playing Tekken right now? Don't play Tekken. You know, like that kid. Man, dude, how did I not say? I said Sajam before Steve. I need to have a talk with myself later, bro. No offense to Sajam, but like Steve's GOAT. I'm sorry.
And then also my last one is gonna be Bobby Scar. I love Scar. I love to watch Scar on the mic, especially with Toph. I think he does a great job of remembering things, and I admire that so much. Both Scar and Toph do a great job of remembering this set from this game a million years ago. And as someone who is regularly criticized in chat for not talking about the game, I can level with Bobby and Toph on that one, because people seem to also make those same critiques about them. I don't care. I love to watch Bobby and Toph put out the top 8 commentary for Melee. I love it.
That's a staple, man.
Awesome. There you go. Well, I mean, earlier it sounded like Flambo sort of closed the conversation here, but Upmind, we'll let you get in yours. Who's your role model in the casting world?
Dude, I'm boring. I got a couple, but I got a couple in sports. I only got like very, very limited amount of options in esports. For sports, at least, definitely. I grew up watching a lot of sports. Funnily enough, I'm wearing yellow and black. I'm a big fan of the Bruins play-by-play commentator, Jack Edwards. The only reason why is not because he's like super knowledgeable or anything, but he's passionate. He brings a certain flair to sports broadcast that like just is unheard of throughout the professional scene in general. I mean, that is just something that you wouldn't get hired for nowadays if he had the takes that he had, but he literally did it in front of millions of people every single week because Boston is just insane for Bruins hockey. So that's what I grew up on. He's still very much an idol of mine, but in terms of esports, definitely one that I like how Flambo touched on, someone that you can kind of relate to. Definitely to me was this Brazilian caster called Beta. He is the mainstay of Brazilian Counter-Strike. He is the mainstay of just Brazilian tactical FPS in general. And when I talk about passion, that's really what I try to bring into every cast of mine, which is yes, I have the hype, but it's more just genuine love for the game, which I really, really do, especially when I'm talking about Valorant and Counter-Strike. And Beta brought that every single time. He was like the solo caster for like the CSGO majors of like 2016 when Brazil won both. And I mean, you could just hear it in his voice that he legitimately, like, he was invested into it. He wasn't just there for a paycheck. He did it solo. Like, it's insane the type of things that grassroots casters do to really get themselves out there. But he's a mainstay now, but before, even at the small platform that he had, to me, that was very impressive for NA at least. Funnily enough, you already mentioned one person from this cinematic universe, Sparky Ludwig, believe it or not, Ludwig. Purely because he was just a funny guy, but mainly because he was more of a mentor for me. I was able to communicate with him a lot throughout, I think it was 2017. I've lost that contact now purely because he's Ludwig.
Because he's not a Megalol anymore?
He's too high up there, dude. I can't catch up with him anymore. Like, whatever. But no, him definitely, he was a great contact for me early on. But yeah, I also had a lot of like mentors in a sense, a lot of people that gave me a lot of advice, and one of them just so happens to be on your screens right now. Thank you, Flambo. Appreciate you very much. You were legitimately one of the biggest wake-up calls that I had, especially before I moved, where I was just like, man, I'm just not feeling this Smash Bros casting thing. Let me just commit to one thing, dude.
Smash was ruthless to you,
ruthless. Yo, hey. I cared a lot at that time. It hit deep because I knew for a fact what was going on behind the scenes. And that's one thing, folks. I mean, because certain grassroots communities can be a little bit more elitist, that community to me was completely ruthless. So that I got over that. It was a big step forward in my career to at least go through that experience. But one of the people that did end up helping me in terms of getting my mental up and just giving me direct feedback and direct criticism, it was Flambo. Appreciate you, dude.
Anytime, brother.
That's
Killing
great.
it. Killing it.
That's great. And
Appreciate you.
I liked how you talked about that the different communities and how it might be more difficult to get involved there. Is this something that the other two guys had a chance to expand on a little bit? Upmind, I want to give you the opportunity here. You can add to this if you want, but just what's something as a caster that's difficult for you? I mean, we talked a little bit about preparing for matches and the studying that's involved to get yourself ready to commentate on those matches. It might be something different. What for you is really difficult in terms of the casting line?
Statistics for me isn't exactly a big thing, but because of how tactical FPSs really are, you have to pay attention to mannerisms all the time with a team and what exactly each person's role on the team is on a certain map, on a certain side, in a certain round. And that's a lot of studying. Like, probably 90% of my week is VOD reviewing, just studying the hell out of teams. And I wish I hadn't needed to do that, but literally every commentator from the bottom level all the way to the top, they just spend their days VOD reviewing, and they have to do that to keep up. So that probably to me is the biggest mental obstacle, is actually getting into it, because it just reminds me of school. I hate school, dude. But otherwise, like, getting myself mentally into a cast, sometimes I feel myself like maybe throughout like the first like 1 to 2 minutes in, especially if I haven't like hyped myself up, it's tough to like get back into that mindset, because like, especially if I'm studying before or the pre-prod was really long, sometimes it's hard for myself to get into that mental. But I think that's more of a personal thing that I could get to work on throughout the next couple of years. But definitely the studying side of things, that's probably the hardest part for me.
Right on. Well, that's good stuff, man. I don't want to end on a downer, so I'm going to ask you a lob question. I asked these guys to start us off here. What are you playing right now, Upmind?
What am I playing right now?
Yeah.
Did you say planning or planning?
Playing. What games are you playing on the systems right now?
The systems. Dude, I'm boring. Like I just said, 90% of my week is VOD reviewing. I watch video games more than I play them. So I'm playing Valorant, I'm playing Rocket League, but I'm playing Smash. But okay, if I had to pick one game that I'm like slowly chipping at, it's actually Final Fantasy VII Remastered. That at the moment, because I'm huge into Final Fantasy, but I never found the time nor kind of the space to actually get it because I never actually had a PS4. I mean, I had a PS4 before I moved, but I bought one specifically to play Final Fantasy just about a month ago. So I'm chipping at it little by little. It's amazing thus far, dude. Like I can't believe I went through like almost a year of just not playing that game. It's stupid even.
I know, man. I was telling these guys before, I'm a big JRPG fan. I'm into Persona 5 Strikers right now. Yes. I was all about Persona 5. I platinumed both those games. And Final Fantasy VII Remake was amazing. I loved it. So glad you're finally getting the opportunity.
Yes, sir. Persona 5 too. That was fun.
Yeah, some good stuff. All right. Well, that is going to bring us to the end of our conversation today, guys. Really appreciate you jumping on. Upmind, thank you for joining us after your match there. We really appreciate you. Sparky Flambo, thank you for being a part of this conversation. It was great having you guys on. I want to give all of you a final opportunity here to let everybody know where they can follow you on the social medias. If you guys have particular channels you like people to follow. So insert shameless plugs here. Sparky, let's start with you.
I am at whoissparky on Twitter, and make sure to sub to twitch.tv/eggsoup.tv. I think it's Egg Soup TV. Flambo, is it Egg Soup TV?
I'm pretty sure it's
Hold on, I gotta look it up. Egg Soup TV. Yeah, no, it's just Egg Soup. It's Egg Soup Raw, no TV.
LMAO.
We'll drop some links in the chat too, so people can find that.
That's all I got. I don't have a TikTok. I don't have an Instagram. Snapchat is not for y'all to follow. That's for other stuff. So that's all I got.
Fair enough. Flambo, how about you?
So, I mean, you can follow me on Twitter at Flambeezy, and the one and the only, the king. And then on YouTube, my YouTube channel kind of hurting, bro. I told myself I was going to do consistent updates, but I haven't been doing consistent updates. But you can just also go to youtube.com/Flambeezy. I'm pretty sure. At least that's the name of my channel, so I'm easy enough to find. Got thumbnails with me and frog hat, so that should be pretty easy. Also, make sure you subscribe to twitch.tv/defensive. You always got to make sure I plug defensive wherever I go. You know, that's the man. And yeah, that just about does it for me. Not really anything else that I can think of at this moment. Subscribe to Hardy MJ on YouTube. And I don't know. That's it.
All right, Upmind, your turn.
Yeah, I don't got much either. You can follow me on Twitter at @upmind_. I think that my Twitch is getting consistent-ish. Twitch.tv/upmind. Drop a primer, please. Love you. Thank you. Dude, other than that, I'm just a guy with a fro on broadcast. You could catch me doing Valorant for Riot, actually, at the moment. You can catch me doing CS for ESCA and ESL. I'm not exactly in one uniform place like these guys. I'm all over the place. So the best place that you can possibly catch up with what I do is on my Twitter.
Perfect. Well, hey, again, thanks guys for tuning in. Really appreciate it. That's going to do it for this episode of the Rectify Roundtable, but be sure to keep your eye on the Rectify Gaming social channels for announcements of upcoming shows, as well as news and updates on our various esports teams and content creators. Until next time, I'm your host, Scott Anderson. Thank you for tuning in.